Hey, what's up guys? It's Lego Hobo 910 here with another Lego video. And in this video, I'm reviewing set number 75947, Hagrid's Hut Buckbeak's Rescue. So let's get right into the review, starting with the side build right here. So here is Hagrid's pumpkin patch with Buckbeak attached to the pole there. And he just attaches simply enough with this chain and then this little harness build, and then you just detach that from him by popping one of the chains off there, and then you can just kind of see slightly better how that all connects to him. And then that's just connected to this kind of large Technic piece, which acts as the pole. It's attached very loosely so it can just kind of spin around if you really want it to. And then the pumpkin patch build is pretty nice as well. Using these new pumpkin pieces here, should look great. As well as using some minifigure heads for smaller pumpkins. It's all attached to leaves. It's really simple, but really effective. And if we set that aside, we can take a look at Buckbeak here, who is a really good mold. The head can move up and down, and then also the wings can, flap, and that's the only articulation. It's fairly standard, kind of fitting in the style of horse-like animal molds there where it has a space. This one, instead of having a 2x1 space, though, has a 2x2, and then there's just this build to attach the wings. We'll just leave that off so you can see the mold slightly better. I really like the kind of talons on the front. Looks really cool. And the head mold's great, as well as having some great printing for the eyes and the feathers around the eyes. And then the beak painted on there as well. Then the feathers, molded into the back there as well. Then once you attach that to the wing assembly, it really looks like Buckbeak and really works. I wish, my small little wish, is that it would have had articulation at the back legs like horses in more recent years have had, so that way you could also kind of, rear him up on his back legs better, instead of just kind of, like, finding a way to set him like that. Like, maybe, that's the best you can do to have him rear up on his back legs. So I wish there would have been articulation on the back legs, but that's my one small complaint. So now let's go actually look at Hagrid's hut. So here is Hagrid's hut, and I think it looks really good. It's done extremely well. It's accurate and very detailed, especially like all the kind of brick patterns going along here. Just looks very nice. And then also the leaves on the outside just adds a bit more detail and kind of connects it into the surroundings, especially when you have the pumpkin patch, kind of helps blend them together. Though they do get easily knocked off. That's my one mild complaint. I wish they would have connected them at more than one connection point. They're really easy to bump off. There's also a large sticker over here, which I think definitely looks good. The one thing that I think they did majorly well with this is sealing the gaps pretty well, especially along the corners here. There is a little bit of gappage, but that's to be expected when, building with plates like this. Is really hard to get them perfectly no gap. Practically impossible. But I think they did a pretty good job here. And then the roof, just kind of slopes up to these points, which look really good as well. Using the arrow points there at the top for kind of the spires. As well as then having these little archways over the doors, little kind of overhangs, definitely adds a bit. And having stairs leading up, it just looks really good. And then I also like the windows, how there's a few like this, and then also you have some in that style. It looks different and works really well. Then here's the front door, which has a sticker on it. It can obviously be open. It's also kind of the side/back door, which has a sticker as well. And then there's a large panel here, which once again has a sticker there. So one thing that is mildly annoying about this set is the amount of stickers, as well as some of them being large and kind of hard to apply, such as the door ones, and this one. But now let's move inside here. And this kind of leads to one of the main complaints that I've seen with this set, is the fact that it has an open back instead of being fully round like all previous versions of Hagrid's Hut sets, in the olden days in the original Harry Potter theme when the movies were coming out. But I think it's a good sacrifice because back in those times, they would basically be able to only have one circle, because it's hard to get the two circles and then have it hinge out. Yeah, it'd basically just be a full circle and then it'd hinge out. But I think this is a good sacrifice because it also, is consistent with the rest of the theme, where the rest of the buildings in this theme are open on the back, so it's a consistency thing. And also I think it works well so you don't have to hinge it to access the interior, and it fits better in places, and I think it's just an overall good sacrifice, because then you can also have the two sections more easily, so it improves accuracy as well. Let's just start over on the larger side here. As you can see, there's plenty of space to put figures in there. There's 3 chairs in there, so you can fit Harry, Ron, and Hermione in those chairs all together. And then the furniture is also very easily removable, as it's only connected by 1 stud at a jumper. So as you can see, you can easily, take furniture to take figures in and out of the furniture. And also to get a better view, in fact, let's pop all of this out. And in the back here you can see a crate with the pink umbrella, and then a shovel. And then over there's just a satchel, as well as a large armchair. That one's kind of hard to get anyone in, as you have to reach past all the stuff hanging from the ceiling, which I think definitely is a cool look, and adds a bit of accuracy, as well as being really unique. You have a cleaver, a bucket, a lasso / whip, a spoon, and then a frying pan. I think that's definitely a kind of cool look. And then the side here you have a fireplace with then an egg in there, and we all know what that egg is. Then also if you push down on the fireplace here, as you can see, it activates a light brick in there, which is just by this being pushed down. And the angles on this aren't quite right. I checked and I'm sure I didn't mess up, but pushing down on the chimney is, you have to kind of get a bit of flex in those plates in order to get the correct pressure on it. I find it slightly easier to just push down there, but even then it's hard to maintain that pressure. It works better if you want the light brick to just do that, as this doesn't really push down on it all too well. They should have maybe just extended this ball the slightest bit, or improve the angle here somehow, so that way pushing down on this works the slightest bit better. But then if we move over into the smaller side section here, we'll move Hagrid out of the way. You can see there's also a spider on the ceiling for obvious reasons. And then a chest back here, which has just a brown frog in there, obviously representing a chocolate frog. And once again, a chair can just be popped off easily enough. And then there's a little desk over here with a candle, and then that same newspaper print that they've been using in every set since the first wave, where it just says "The Boy Who Lived." And then that leads to the side door here. You can just exit the house. So now let's go look at the minifigures. Here are the first 3 of 6 minifigures in the set. This is the 30-year versions of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And this is the only set to come with 30-year versions of Ron and Hermione. This version of Harry has come in the other 2 30-year sets, though. So we'll start with him. He uses the same hairpiece as he did in the first and second year, as well as, all the other identical 30-year ones, as well as dark tan midi legs, and then a dark brown wand. Then the torso is exactly the same as all the other 30-year ones. And then if we take off his hairpiece there, you can see his head slightly better. And then there's the alternate face, which I believe is used for all the 3rd and 4th year versions of Harry. Then we'll move over to Ron, who I really like this version of him. He has the dark gray midi legs, and then really like the dark red sweater there. Looks pretty cool. With him, of course, the light brown wand, which he always has. This uses the same hairpiece as he does in the 1st and 2nd year. If we take that off, you can see his facial expressions, which I think are perfect for Ron. This one's really dorky, which once again fits Ron very well. He's always making dorky, weird faces. Then if we move to Hermione, who I think is really unique. I'm pretty sure this is a fairly common hairpiece. And then she, of course, has the dark tan wand, which she always does. I really like the torso print there, where you can see the time turner under the pink jacket, and then, of course, the blue mid-sized legs as well. If I take off the hair, you can see her facial expression slightly better, as well as her alternate face, which I don't think fits Hermione all too well. The facial expressions on her aren't that great, in my opinion. But overall, I think it's a pretty good set of minifigures. It's surprising, though, that this is the only time we've gotten 3rd year Ron and Hermione. Now let's move to the other 3. Here we have Hagrid, Cornelius Fudge, and then William McNair. We'll start with Hagrid. He's the same version that came in the Great Hall set, using the new large hair and beard piece with underneath a weird-looking head. It looks unusual without all the facial hair, and also oddly tiny and small. He then also has a lantern in black here, which I think is a new color for it. And then using the new large trench coat as well as arm pieces that Hagrid has been using, the same print and everything and mold as the Great Hall set from last year. He then uses dark brown short legs, actually, because most of the legs are supposed to be in the trench coat. So just having the dark brown short legs works, and then he's still really tall. That's about all for him. And then here's the more interesting figures, which we have. I think this is the first time getting both of them in Lego form, even with the previous Harry Potter line. We have Cornelius Fudge, who I think looks really cool with the black bowler hat. Facial expression definitely works. And then I really like kind of the large trench coat look there, and the dark green tie. It's a fairly simplistic minifigure, but fairly effective as well. And then finally, we have probably my favorite minifigure from the set, William McNair, who's the Executioner, of course. I kind of like the axe build here, where they use the regular blade piece, but then also attach an ice skate piece down here to make it look like he has a longer blade on the axe. If we just move that aside, you can see the figure slightly better. He just uses a regular black hood. And then I'm pleasantly surprised with the facial print there. Normally on black heads and stuff, it's like very pale and hard to see, and it's not really the correct color, because that's the color it's supposed to be. A lot of time it ends up almost white. This is actually pretty good. It could still be better. It's still slightly pale, but on this figure I don't actually mind being mildly pale. It's not too much of an issue. And then the torso print as well looks excellent, and it's a surprisingly dark figure to include, but a great one nonetheless. So yeah, that's all the minifigures. Let's move on to final thoughts. So overall, I think this is a really great set. The build definitely looks great, as well as having a nice detailed interior. The minifigures are amazing, getting finally, a third-year version of Ron and Hermione. The Harry's meh. It's not a bad figure, but we've gotten him twice before already, so he's not as cool. Similar with the version of Hagrid, but I know lots of people probably didn't get him, considering the only other set he came in this outfit was a $100 set. And then getting these two new characters is always great, and I think they're also just objectively pretty good minifigures. That's all from me, and bye.